Hi there, welcome to this Simply Budgets Quick Start software demonstration. In just a few simple steps I'm going to show you how quick and easy it can be to put together a basic budget in Simply Budgets, which will help you understand exactly how this software works. There are lots of things that I will leave out in this demonstration that are details that you can learn using the help systems available within the software. And just quickly draw your attention to that. We have document help files and we have video help files. And if you click on either of those throughout the software, you'll get the help information that you need specific to that particular screen. So here we go. Click on File, create a new budget file. I'll call this one Example. There are different countries that you could select from, and the country that you select will determine the list that gets loaded when you go in to start your budget. And step 1, set up personal details. So I've got John Citizen in there. None of the information on this page is compulsory. It's just simply for your benefit if you'd like to put in your information there. The second tab, financial details. So this budget needs a start date, and today is as good a day as any to start. Primary pay frequency. So every budget has to have a primary pay. If there's only one income, it's really easy to identify. If there's more than one income, my suggestion is pick the largest income and make that your primary income. Simply Budgets is going to see how much of that income is required to make the budget work. Any other income, it will automatically decide how much of it wants to make the budget work most efficiently. I'll change this to 2 weekly for the purpose of this demonstration. Next, primary payday. So I'm just going to use the calendar and I'm going to select the 11th of May. Don't worry too much about this here. This is to do with bank accounts, and that's all stuff that you can learn later on. The only bank account we need to worry about is the fact that we have a primary budget account. You can add as many other accounts as you like, but we do need to have a primary budget account that the primary income goes into and the bills are paid from. Down the bottom, information about that account. Opening balance, I'm going to put down 0 for the purpose of this exercise. Minimum balance, I'm going to put down 0 for the purpose of this exercise. You can set up credit cards, but for what I want to achieve now, I want to be really quick. I want to get you up and running as quickly as possible. There are help files that will show you all the way through what you need to know. Just to give you an example here, you can watch a video on personal details, financial details, all of the tabs. It's all there. Or if you prefer to read a document, the same thing in a PDF or portable document file format. So let's save and exit from here. We've finished setting it up. Very basic. Step 2, regular transactions. First tab is income. Now I just set up a primary income with a date, but now I'm going to put in an amount. And for the 2 weekly income, I'm going to put down $1,000. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm not going to have any other income. Clearly though, if you've got other income, you would go through and put that in there. Now we go from income to expenses. This budget is going to have one expense. It's a mortgage payment. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find mortgage, and I'm going to have a $1,000 mortgage payment, and that's going to happen on the 27th of the 5th, 1 month basically after the budget began. It's a monthly payment. That's it. Now the lists that you'll see here are extensive. It could be tempting to want to fill in as many boxes as possible, and that's great if you want to do that. But the whole concept of Simply Budget started with a mortgage payment and the need to make sure that there was enough money always in a bank account, so when the bank went to take the mortgage payment, there was no stress because the money was there. So once you've got your head around this concept, you can come back and add in as many things as you like, and the budget will tell you where you need to be on any given day to have the things that you've budgeted for covered. Any other money that you find in the account above that balance that your budget will show is surplus that you can use to spend on other things. It's that simple. Save and exit, and let's have a look at what this budget looks like. So here we've got a graph, and there are 2 lines, a blue one and there's this yellow area. Down the bottom here we'll see ideal regular plan, your regular plan. Now what we've done is the budgeting program has looked at that one expense and it said, look, ideally you would have $385 in the bank somewhere right now, and you'd need to put in $461.54 each pay to get that expense covered so that you never have a day when you haven't got the money available to make that payment. So me, setting up my budget, I'm thinking to myself, well, if possible, I'd like to get my budget to look like the ideal one. Now my budget's based on $1,000 because that's the income that I told it that I had. Now I can see I don't need to use all of that income just to make this mortgage payment. I can use some of that money to pay for groceries and other expenses. So I'm going to just put in the 461, recalculate, which will immediately give me some spare money for other expenses. So now you can see the ideal budget looks a bit like a saw blade, really, doesn't it? Starts at $385, income goes in, payments come out, incomes go in, payments come out. It actually gets down to a $0 balance on the 27th of September, and then there's a month where there are 3 pays and the balance comes up a bit, and then towards the end of the year it ends up coming right back to where it started, $385. The reason for that? Very simple. There were 12 $1,000 payments to go out, and exactly $12,000 went in. Not 1 cent more, not 1 cent less. And that's the whole object of what we're trying to do here. How little can we put in each week, but still making sure we don't run out of money. Now, if you compare the ideal budget there with my budget, you can see I've got some problems. I start off at 0 and I head down into bad land. Eventually I catch up, but then it just comes back to bite me again. So all I need to do is to go and find $385 to put in as an opening balance, and my problem is solved. If I didn't have any money, well then the only other way I could solve the problem is to take a little bit more of that income, and it's telling me, hey, if you put $500 in here each pay, let's try that. Now we've got a catch-up plan. So if you were to follow the numbers that you can see down the bottom here, money coming in, payment going out, deposit, deposit, payment. It's exactly what the graph is showing up here. 2 deposits go in and 1,000 comes out. 2 lots of 500 comes in, 1,000 comes out. So that this no longer is a problem that it was going to be before. And at this point here, I've actually caught up with myself. And if I was to keep going at the $500 level, you can see that I actually start to get ahead of myself, which isn't what I wanted to achieve. I want to identify all my spare money so I can do other things with it. I've identified here that I'm behind. I've made the decision to put more money in each pay, but when I get to this point here, almost halfway through, I'm going to review this plan, roll this budget forward to a new start date and say, you know what, I can now go back to $461 instead of $500 each pay. I'll free up roughly $40 a pay that I can do something else with. So that, hopefully that makes sense. This whole budgeting system is driven by the expenses that you put in. It shows you how to pay for them and what balances you need to target along the way to make sure you're on track. It's not, tell me what you earn and let's see what we can do with it. So this is very simplistic. Let's do one more quick demonstration. If I go back to regular transactions, I've got a mortgage payment in here. Obviously I could put in some other things. There's another feature called LongTerm Expenses, and I really want to show you that because it is awesome. I've got a washing machine replacement, a refrigerator replacement, all of these things that cost a lot more to replace. They seem to last a long time, and then one day they drop dead and suddenly you need a big amount of money to pay for them, and it causes you grief. So if we were to put in here, I just want $1,000 available when my washing machine is 10 years old. You know what? It's currently 4 years old. My refrigerator, I probably need $1,000 to buy a new refrigerator. Once again, that should last probably 10 years. But you know what? Mine's already 7 years old. A couple of other items and then we'll go and see what this looks like in the budget. How about a battery in the car? They last about 3 years. Probably costs about $130 to replace, depending on the car that you've got. Current age is about 18 months old, so let's just change that from years to months. And the tyres usually cost about $600. last for a couple of years. You know what, the ones I've got in the car now, they're probably about 9 months old, just for an example. So you can see how easy it is to go through the list. If you want to add some more things, you just click on this button, add some more, put in the details. That's as simple as it gets. Click on Save and Exit. We're going to go back to the budget. So we've set up our regular expenses part of the budget. It hasn't changed. Now I'm going to click on the long-term planner, and it says, you know what, ideally you'd have nearly $780 in the bank. I got nothing. You know what, ideally you'd deposit $20.90 each pay. You know what, I'm going to have to put in $27.41 and recalculate that. And immediately I've got a plan that says, we're a bit short to start with, $800 roughly, but there is no point in the next 10-year cycle where I actually have to replace something where I don't have the money to replace it. So you can see this allows me to look into the future, pretty well see what's going to happen before I get there, and work my way around the crisis points so that they don't actually cause me any grief. So let's quickly go and have a look at the sample budget, which has lots of regular expenses, lots of long-term expenses, and a bunch of savings items, just so that you can see what it looks like when you put more in. Because at the moment, we've got a saw blade here because it's one expense regularly each month, and it's just money in, money out, money in, money out, which is what happens, but I just want you to see it when it looks a little bit smoother once you've got a whole bunch of expenses in there. Pretty exciting stuff. Oh, I forgot to show you this one here, budget details. Here's where it all comes together. We've got a column for regular, column for long-term, column for savings, and those three added together in this case would be regular plus long-term plus savings, gives us the balance, which is the line that you can see on the graph here growing slowly above the yellow. So let's save and exit. File, open an existing one, John and Mary Citizen, and let's have a look at that one. Okay, exactly the same thing, but here we've just got a whole lot more expenses. If we quickly zip in here to step 2, you'll see that I've got birthdays and not child sponsorships, but all sorts of things in here that are regular, predictable, repeating transactions that you know are going to happen, so that you should be able to plan for them. I've got a bunch of long-term expenses other than the ones I showed you a moment ago, and I've got some savings items in here as well. So when we go back to the budget, here we have the plan. I used my regular planner to work out the journey through the next 12 months for that part of the budget. I used the long-term planner to work out the journey through the next 10 years for that part of the budget. I've got my savings in there, and I can actually view and see what savings is happening. Then I've got the budget details, which is the overall plan, and the credit card details, which shows me what things I plan to put on the credit card and when the payments are due and how much I expect them to be. From there, it's a simple case of printing out some reports. You can print out calendars and summaries and all sorts of reports that you can hang up on the fridge door and refer to them once a week, once a fortnight, however often you need to go there, to basically say, hey, what's the roadmap look like? Where do I need to be today? Jump on the internet, check your bank balance, compare it with your plan, and see whether you're ahead and you've got some spare money, or whether you've fallen behind and you need to pull your horns in for a little bit. It's that simple. So hopefully this has given you a really good insight, a really quick insight into what it is that you're going to do as you set up your budget. But it is so exciting to see people's lives change when they actually get a roadmap to follow and then start following it and see the pressure come away, the stress go out of their life with regards to money, and it just allows you to get on with your life and not have to worry about money, just having a plan to follow that you've designed for yourself for the expenses that you know you have to pay for when they fall due. That's it for now. Over and out.